Okay, so we're going to look at some outer hip stability, versions of side plank and half moon, but from the mat on hands and knees. So because we're on hands and knees, other issues can arise, being that it might be uncomfortable for the knees to press down on the earth. So definitely some softness for under the knees. And just knowing that you can do these poses with your hands flat, or you can do them with fists. So on the third knuckles with the thumbs pointing forward, and that kind of makes it a little bit easier if there's any wrist problem. And there are other ways we can tackle the wrist, but those should be okay for today. So we can start on hands and knees, just have a loosen up in cat and cow. So as you inhale, you're tilting the tailbone back, you're lifting the head, you're dropping the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades back a little bit. And as you exhale, really pressing against the earth with the hands to get that lift of the chest, opening of the shoulder blades, tucking the tailbone and the head. And just floating between the two, just getting some movement in the spine. So these long spinal muscles that run up and down. And cat and cow is often just so simple and so nice. And obviously you can do it sitting. Inhale, exhale. You can do it standing up. It's nice to do it in kind of a chair version. Inhale, exhale. So it's one of those kind of good all-rounders. So starting in cat and cow. And then we can do some kind of moving side to side. So with this one, exhaling, you drop your hips one direction, and then you turn your head to look at the foot in the other direction. And inhaling, you come back to center. And this will just start us loosening up the tissues in the side of the hips, the outer hips and the waist. You keep your knees on the floor, sinking the hips one direction, turning to look at the foot in the other direction, all on an exhale, and then inhale back to center. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. And again, if it gets too much for the wrists, come on to kind of fists, third knuckles with the thumbs pointing forwards, and you just take that angle out of the wrists. I mean, it can be problematic then for the knuckles. You can also do this on forearms. If you're doing forearms, you get less of the twist of the upper body, but you still get that nice openness of the lower body. Okay, and then finally, before we start, we can do this kind of wagging the tail. So the spine stays straight, it's not moving side to side anymore. The spine stays straight, but you're just moving, you're hoiking a hip up one side. So you're like shortening one side, lengthening the other side. So as you exhale, one hip comes towards the lower ribs. And as you inhale, the pelvis comes back to center. And then you move to the other side. Now it's quite tricky because people think they need to be sort of sliding, but this is just literally wiggling your tail like a dog. And then having loosened up, we can begin. So with the side plank version, I can take my right foot and I'm just going to open it out to the right so that the foot lands kind of a 45-degree angle off the mat. The shin is still flat, the knee is still flat, and the top of the foot is still flat. And from there, pressing into the hands, I'm going to take my left foot back and then turn so that the big toe side of the foot is on the floor. From there, I'm going to put my weight into my right hand and see if I can start to lift my left hand up. And it's like I'm going to press the right hand down as I lift the left hand to the heart. And then I'm kind of heading towards a side plank here. I could even take my arm up into the sky, and I'm in this lovely side plank. And that right foot that landed off the mat is actually stabilizing me. So it's preventing me from falling backwards. And remember, this hand that you're on, your right hand, you don't want to have the shoulders sinking forward. Roll it back, press the hand into the floor so you're resisting gravity. And from here, we can go into a half moon variation. You can kind of, if you want to, lift the back leg. And then you're in this half moon. You can also turn the palm towards the head and take it over the head so you're in a really long line. And what could be nice is dropping that back foot almost to the floor and lifting it up. Dropping it almost to the floor, lifting it up. And that will activate these kind of side hip muscles. Switch them on, lengthen them. Because you're lengthening them against gravity, you're not just dropping the foot down, you're resisting the floor. It's this amazing way of working muscles. From here also, if you want to, you can bend that top leg and take hold of the foot, and you can go into half bow variation, rolling the shoulder, top shoulder back, even take the head back, take the knee back, and you're in a back bend. And then you can come back to your side plank, take your hand back down, come back onto hands and knees, bring that right foot back on the mat, and again, you probably need some cat and cow just to loosen up. We've done a lot of work, you can feel it on that left side, and a lot of work there. So let's do the other side now. When you're ready, you might want to have a resting child between these as well, feel free to do that. Take a few breaths, and then we're going to take the left foot, land it off the mat over to the left. We're going to press the right foot back, toes into the floor. Then we're going to turn it so it's on the big toe side of the foot. So the heel comes to the floor, the big toe side of the foot comes to the floor. The sole of the foot is not flat on the floor, it's just the side of the foot on the floor. Then as I press my left hand into the floor, I'm going to lift my right hand, my right hip, my right ribs, and bring the hand on the heart. I'm going to turn to look at the right side. Again, I can have hand on hip, hand on ribs, hand on head, or hand up to the sky for side plank. And that bottom arm, the left shoulder, I'm going to roll it back so that I'm not sinking down into that joint. I'm rolling it back, pressing against the sky, the floor. Then I'm going to turn my right palm towards my head, take the arm over the ear, and then I'm stretching, really lengthening that side. And then I've got the option of lifting, whoops, that back leg up into half moon. Half moon could always be there as well. This just makes it more intense and more long. And then I can activate the side muscles by lowering the leg, lifting the leg, lowering it almost to the floor, lifting. And it's quite strong. And then you can bend the leg, take hold of the foot, if you can grab it, take the knee back, push the foot away from the hand, take the shoulder back, even take the head back into this lovely back bend, and then coming back to your side plank, hand coming down, and then coming back into your position, hands and knees into angry cat and cow, having a few more rotations. At this point you might want to do some rolling around, some free-form movement, just to loosen up everything that you just awakened in the hips and the side body. And then maybe coming into child pose. I've still got my knees hip distance apart, so lots of room for my belly and chest to lower down. You can rest your head on your forearms. And you can always flip over and hug your knees into your chest and rest your back following that sequence. You can make circles with the knees. You can roll side to side, whatever you want to do, feel into what that's activated and just let it rest. Okay, hope you enjoyed that.